How did I bring my dreams alive? Why, with a Anchor podcast, of course. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor does the hard work and distributes your podcast for you so you can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can even make money with your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. Download the free Anchor app today or go to Anchor FM to get started. Hey guys, it's Karen L. I am counting down the days to the launch of my website, Save Loud, that encompasses all things that are me. Sorry to be so selfish, but it's a website showing my photography work. You can reach me there for hosting events, kind of a little bit about my vision and what I want to do with my company and what my plans are for the future, and then engaging in some of the work. And then hopefully one day other artists work with me so that we can collaborate together. I wanted to talk quickly today about one of the shows that I'm planning for our 2020 launch of the podcast, and kind of share with you the idea behind some of the episodes that I plan on recording in the near future. So I'm big on clearing space, right? And not just in the sense of physical space, but our emotional space and how our physical and emotional well-being kind of dance together, right? And if they're not in uniform and if they're not synced and one is out of line, then it kind of shows, right? So I tell people all the time that the way you carry yourself, as much as people are like, people shouldn't judge me by the way we carry ourselves, I do it. I judge people by the way they carry themselves because I worked for a Fortune 500 company a couple of years ago, and I was a sales executive. And I remember them telling us, a man said to me, two things he said to me. One was, we have an event tomorrow, Karen, and everybody suits up, and we do black suits and white shirts because we got to be the elephant in the room. And so I took that on not only as a piece of advice in my career, but also a piece of advice in my person. And the second thing he said to me was, let me see your hands. You can tell a lot about a person by how they keep their hands, by their hands. You can tell what they do, who they are, by their hands. And so if anybody sees me, you'll know that my nails kind of always look nice, and when they don't, I don't feel good. And also, I carry myself. I'm team overdressed, and people tend to tell me that all the time. Well, you're overdressed for this, or you're overdressed for that. But I personally feel that when I walk into a room, I do it for myself. But when I walk into a room or when I look at somebody else, as much as it's unfair to say this, it's true. We treat people based on what we see. I always give this example to the kids in the room during psychology club, and I tell them close their eyes. And I tell them a story about a guy dressed in all black, walking down the street at night, and you're by yourself, and what would you do? And they always assume that the guy's a burglar, when in fact he's a priest on the way to the church. But we kind of draw conclusions based on what we see. And so as much as the world shouldn't be like that, because I know it's very much like that, I very much take pride in myself and caring for myself because I want to and makes me feel good, but because also I hold myself at a standard and I hold other people to look at me at that standard. The other day, my son needed a haircut, and I was like, nah, bro, like, I don't care who cuts your hair. I don't care how much it costs. I don't care if they have to come to my house to get it cut, but you need to get it cut because you can't, like, there's no way that I'm walking around put together and you're not, and your hair looks crazy, and the barber's been out, for personal reasons, but we got to find someone to cut your hair. So I wanted to do this episode, and I'm going to talk to Farrah about it for launching it for 2020 and being the first episode, because I think that care and wellness, not just for your personal being, but for everything around you, means a lot. So back to what I was saying, what are some of my New Year's, what do I do every New Year? And one of the things that I do is actually clean out my closet, right? So every January, that weekend of whenever New Year's is, or those days right before New Year's going into New Year's Day, I clean out my closet. And I physically go through everything that I own. in there. And if anybody knows, I have a big walk-in closet. Like you can put probably a queen size bed in there and still have plenty of room. And I have, 9-foot ceilings in there. So there's a lot of space. I can't even reach the top without a ladder. And I clean my closet every year, and I throw out the things that are no more use to me, that I'm just holding on, whether it's for emotional purposes or some crazy thing my parents, some crazy West Indian thing your parents says, don't throw it out in case of emergency. I also clean before Christmas with my children, because I told them many years ago that Santa is not going to bring you more things until you share some of the things that you have. And so my son and my daughters have always known that, like, we're going to go do a drop-off of toys before new toys can come. And I'm really big in life in general in clearing spaces so that your blessings can come to you. And not be an emotional space, because that's another thing. We need to purge emotionally and be like, okay, I'm not going to hold on to this. I'm not going to make myself stuck at this job, or I'm not going to stay in this relationship, or whatever it can, like, purge those. But then also the physical things that we're holding on to that we need to hold on to. So I try to keep my house very light, with not very many closets full up of junk or things not being organized, because I really do feel like when your space is in chaos, then you are in chaos, right? But when your space is neat and organized, then you're a little bit more aligned and organized. And so I try to keep that in mind going into the new year, and then kind of like look at what I want for my goals and my vision board and things like that. I know some people think that it's crazy. Some people say, okay, I'm not going to make a vision board. I'll just write everything down in a journal. Some people on a tissue paper, whatever it is. I just really want to be a part of that with people and share that with them, because I definitely think that if I showed you my journal from 5 years ago, where I wanted to live, what I wanted to do, you probably wouldn't believe me. When I wrote it down, I don't know how much I believed in it, but I wrote it down and I kept it and I kept looking at it. And when I look at it now, I'm like, oh my God, I live exactly in the place I said I wanted to live. I have the furniture that I said I want. I have the car that I said I want. And it's nice to go back and reflect. Was life perfect? No. Was things easy all the time? No. But everything that you manifest can come as long as there's a space for it. And so for our 2020 show, I think I'm launching into health and wellness, and not just being physically well. Yes, I'm going to the gym today, despite the fact that I have 3 herniated discs in my back, because I need my physical wellness to be well, but also your mental and emotional wellness. And then look how that looks around you. I was with the kids the other day, and we pulled up in a McDonald's parking lot, and the guy's car next to us looked like he'd been living in it. Like, it was just packed with stuff. And I the first thing I think of when I see that is, like, A, discipline, but B, like, how did it get like that? How did you get like that? How did your space get like that? And then what are the emotional implications for that? Because there are some. A lot of people think they're not. But there are emotional implications to what your surrounding is like. It's either that or your upbringing, and you're okay with, like, living in garbage and filth. I personally am not. Some people find a comfort in it. I don't like when the house is disorganized. I don't even like when there's, like, more than 4 or 5 cups in the sink, because only 2 people live here. But I definitely think that there's room for discussion in that, because I think those things then spill into other parts of our lives, right? And so, it's easy to be like, okay, well, my house is clean, whatever, am I organized here? But then you have to think that spills into your financial situation, that spills into your relationships, that spills into your work. And those habits that you carry, you're now just not carrying them in your own personal circle, but now they're almost like a little tornado into every little circle that you're in. And so I wanted to get my girls together, get some guys together too, maybe, because I do feel like men might deal with those situations a little differently or not be as reflective. I don't know. That would be a good question to ask them. And then go into the new year with us planning for the new year, and everybody who's listening be able to say, okay, this is what I want to do. This is what I don't want. This is what I do want. And kind of navigating yourself and creating a map for yourself, because ideally you're the captain of your own ship, and whether you listen to me or not, I'm just kind of here to help you navigate it. But we all want you to get to wherever it is that you want to go. So that's what I'm thinking for our 2020 launch. You can listen to Say It Loud. We're on 4 streaming platforms right now. Yay! I'm working on getting us on a couple more, and the website will be up January 1st. The podcast will be going live January 1st and then publishing once a week. You definitely could leave me a voice message and I will respond to you and kind of get you guys on the show. You can follow me on Instagram. I am Karen L. On Instagram, it's popping. Everybody loves the Friday fuckery. And I can't wait to share everything that I think and I want and I say with you guys. And I know it sounds selfish, but I just feel like if I can enlighten one person, if I could share with one person, if I can make a difference with one person, then I did my job. And I did what I wanted to do, and that makes me feel good. And I want to feel good, and I want everyone else to feel good. All right? We out.